you're all well, keeping well at home. Nice to see you again. This is a video that I wanted to make for quite some considerable time. As you can see, I'm in Northern Ireland. It's very cold and normally put up videos of wild swimming. I'll not be doing any wild swimming probably until next year. Great to see we're getting £100 towards our winter fuel allowance, which is great. I don't know, somebody up in Stormont must have thought that was a good idea, but that's big thumbs up. But this is all about heat cycles and engines. Now in America you put gas in a petrol tank or in a tank. In the UK we put petrol in it. The petrol then goes down through into the carburetor or the fuel injection system. Most vehicles now have a fuel injected system in them. Just make sure. See this alright? As I've said before, you know, I don't work for the BBC, but then they go into what's called the combustion chamber. The combustion chamber is where a piston moves up and down and then ignites the fuel. Once the fuel is ignited on a 4-stroke engine, the valves then push the exhaust gases out into this here, which is an exhaust pipe, and then the exhaust gases go out the back of the exhaust pipe, so that's fine. But there's a problem with 4-stroke engines, and that is the heat cycle. So if you start your engine up and then say you start it up for say 3 or 4 minutes, the engine hasn't went through a heat cycle, which means to say that the combustion gases aren't being expelled out the exhaust pipe properly. So if you have and I've seen this on YouTubers all over it, 44 Teeth, the Michelin Flyer, everyone does this. Now I'm lucky I'm an ex-racer, as most of you know. If you decide to start your engine, run your engine until working temperature, and take your motorcycle out for a run. In other words, take it for 3 or 4 miles up the road before you stop it again. If you bring it back to the garage or your workshop or wherever you keep it, make sure when you turn your engine off, you don't start it. You don't start it again until the next time you're going to use it. In other words, the next time you're going to take it on what's called a heat cycle. So there are a lot of people, what they do is they start their engines up, say once every 2 or 3 weeks during the winter time, and then they stop it, and then they start it, and then they stop it, and start it and stop it. That's the worst thing you can do, because you're not putting the engine through its heat cycles. If you turn your bike off, your motorcycle off, say for instance today, and you're not intending to use your motorcycle until say next spring, don't start it in between times. Forget about it, because the fuel that they have in engines now has a high ethanol content, and that ethanol content, unless you're able to put additives to it, goes off, especially in a plastic tank, and that's what this has. So this motorcycle will not be started until I intend to use it, or one of my family members intend to use it until next year. The other thing is this here is, it's a good idea to check your motorbike, because in the winter time seals can tend to harden up. Classic example is here. No front brake. Okay. So if I was to take this motorcycle out onto a grass track or motocross track, that would be curtains. The other thing is this here. If you don't let your motorcycle run through its heat cycles, the engine can just cut off. It can just stop like that there. If there's a car or another vehicle coming behind you and your engine stops, what's going to happen? If you don't have the experience to pull your clutch in or ride your motorcycle over to the side of the road and stop, somebody's going to come up the back and hit the rear of your motorcycle, and it's going to throw you off, and you know, it could have very serious consequences. Probably in the worst case scenario, it could kill you, because it could throw you onto oncoming traffic. That's traffic coming in the opposite direction. So remember, modern engines are highly sophisticated. They're linked up to all these computers, all these different things, and they're just very, very, very complicated. But the most important thing is, if you intend to use your motorcycle on a daily basis, that's fine. You don't have to worry about heat cycles. But if you intend to use your motorcycle intermittently, maybe once a week, that's fine also. But if you're going to store your motorcycle, say between now and next spring, don't start it, because what you'll do is you'll either clog up your spark plug. If you clog up your spark plug, then the motorcycle will not run. It means you have to take everything off, and a lot of modern motorcycles, you have to take your petrol tank off, you have to take your air filter off, take all these different components apart until you're able to get to your spark plug. Once you then get to your spark plug, you're then going to have to put a fresh spark plug in the engine. That's okay, but unless you know about heat cycles and you put a fresh spark plug in your engine, you're just going to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I hope that's clear. If there's any questions you'd like to ask me about heat cycles,